Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and we're back again with a topic that I have talked about a number of times throughout my channel's history, and this general concept is actually what blew me up back in October of 2023, so, that was, and talking about this concept, I feel like we're not moving anywhere with it, and the concept, of course, if y'all read the title, is that Wizard101 PvP's barrier to entry is still exceedingly high, and it hasn't gone anywhere. And if anything, the barrier to entry has gone up, and significantly up, as a matter of fact. And we're in the Blended Grove today to talk about that specifically, because a couple days ago, I did a live stream where I did nothing but work on death weaving quests. You heard me correctly, that was all that I did, and make no mistake about it, that live stream took 4 hours and 17 minutes. So, yeah, all of that just to get to rank 4 weaving, and just to be sure everything is all set to go, and of course I had to get the weft yarn. But another big part of that is the fact that my boy Nathaniel, shout out Nathaniel, this guy is just the absolute goat. He is the one who taught me about the, the elemental retriever tech for spell farming, as well as some other stuff. But he actually sold me about 150 weft yarn, and like, it was, even with that, I mean, it took so much longer to get my live PvP ready, because I had to get all of the jewels and the pins as well. I mean, Nathaniel sold me some dream water too, so it's like there was a lot of farming that got cut out. Like, it definitely would have pushed 5 hours if I had done all this myself. But yeah, all the things like the soul piercing jewels, like the life and death dual schools, it's like, that's the sort of thing that just adds so much to the barrier to entry. And like I said, I have talked about this topic to death, just over the course of my channel's history. And I mean, back the first time I talked about it, I know I talked about like pet making and all that. And then I think the second time I talked about raid gear, and now this time is going to focus specifically on magic weaving, because, like I said, that 4-hour live stream where all I did was work on death weaving, I mean, it was certainly something, because another thing that my viewers actually helped me out with a lot was another viewer in my chat, Crollo. He actually had a character in Dragonspire that I could use to quest with, and this was especially helpful because if we look at the weaving tome here, you can see that I did not do the vision quests. These are, in my opinion, the third least annoying out of the 5. So, like, third least annoying out of the 5. Of course, beating a boss 7 times and beating 30 mobs, obviously number 1 and 2, these are the ones that I'd recommend that everybody does, but fishing is in 3rd place, because what else is there? Use join a team kiosk in Old Town to help 10 teams for death weaving. Good luck. Like there's gonna be 10 teams teaming up for Krokotopia. Actually, for Krokotopia, Selenopolis counts. Hello, encoding lag. I just realized that was the thing that was going on. Anyway, but yeah, death team player. I could not do this because it was either like there were no teams in Krokotopia proper, and everything else was like annoying fights in Selenopolis. So that was off the table. And then this is what Crollo helped me with, because he had a character in Dragonspire. And so I just ran this a bunch. Like, for all 4 weaving labors, I would just do this. So I just helped them with a bunch of quests, and that was how I got this up. So, that was a really big help from him. But this is a problem because with some of these fishing quests, the fish that you're trying to catch are not going to show up the first time, or the second time, or the third time, or even the 14th time that you look in the fishing hole. And I remember I was on my fire trying to do, I want to say, storm weaving, and the fish that you had to catch are off in the entrance hall, or not in the entrance hall even, the Emperor's Retreat. And I was doing storm weaving for that, I want to say. So I had to go to the Emperor's Retreat, Crocotep's dungeon, defeat 2 bosses, and then catch the 4-eyed grouper in the frozen lake area of the Emperor's Retreat specifically, because if you catch it elsewhere, it will not count. I found this out early on when I was doing weaving on my ice. So that was the whole thing, and I quite literally went up and got my fishing level to rank 6 on numerous characters because I could not catch the fish, or the fish they wouldn't spawn in any case. And that was the same case with my life, because in the entrance hall there are these bearded trout death fish that you have to catch, but I mean, you can come back for days at a time and you will not see even one. So having summoned fish is so good for that. But the issue is with that, you need to be fishing rank 6. So you need to go out and catch a bunch of other different fish, which is its own tedious task. So overall, it just adds length to weaving, and it's already long. I've talked about that a bunch, and yeah, just overall, weaving takes a very long time, but you need it if you want to do PvP. So, you know, my life wizard, y'all have seen, I've made a grand total of 1 PvP video on since January, when I took my 4-month hiatus. So, and even that came about a month after I'd come back to the arena, and then there hasn't been one since. And the reason for that is, well, 1, I didn't have membership for most of that time, but 2 is the fact that I needed to do weaving quests. And, of course, that's really annoying and boring and all that. And as a matter of fact, the one live PvP video that I did get was barely even counts. I mean, it was definitely not like the best setup, because like it was really scuffed and all that, and I had to, you know, do a lot of finagling with the deck setup. But anyway, that was my only live PvP video, and it was scuffed. And so this, I'm gonna do some more live PvP tonight and do a live stream of it. And by tonight, I mean last night when y'all are watching this. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to do some live PvP, and this time I will actually have a real setup. So there is that. But the fact that it took me this long, it just goes to show you just how tedious the weaving quests really are. Because if you need to switch weaving schools, like I'd started to weave fire at the beginning, and then decided I wanted to go weave death. So, you know, with that in the mix, it's just like I had to go do all of the death weaving quests, and that took a while. Like it's like I said, 4-hour live stream, and if I hadn't gotten help from multiple different viewers from my chat, it would have taken 5.5, 6 hours to just to kit out this one wizard for PvP. So it's just adding a massive barrier to entry on top of all that's already there. I've already mentioned, you know, pet making, like getting this deadly null dragon from the Voracious Void raid is a pain in the neck. And then, you know, raid gear is a whole nother thing. I mean, this robe is real tough to get. And then, like these boots, the Reaver version drops from the Nightmare dungeon, which is its own hell. And I mean, it's like this drops from a raid, this drops from a raid, this drops from a pseudo raid, this drops from a raid, this drops from a raid. This drops from a pseudo raid. We can pretty much call the Liches and Legends Gauntlet a pseudo raid because it's polymorph fights, and who the hell wants to do those? This drops from rematches. This drops from a raid. The Clockwork Courser mount that I use doesn't drop. You have to pray you get it in the crown shop from time to time. And then this thankfully drops from a gold key boss. So it's like all of this raid and raid adjacent gear plus like pack stuff. It's like this, this, and this you can all get from packs, and then of course the mount is from the crown shop, but you can also get all of these things for free via farming, which is good. I'm really glad that there's no like super pay to win stuff in the game anymore. But it's just getting all of that and then throwing weaving on top of it is going to dissuade people from wanting to do PvP. And I don't know if our complaints just as a community have fallen on deaf ears, but it really doesn't feel like the devs are listening. And I'm certainly not happy with that. Because, I mean, even still, like, I haven't put Wings of Fate into this deck, but I still don't have the spellments for it. It's like I could very easily throw that in here for, I don't know, say, a Seraph or two. Maybe take out a Luminous Weaver. And like throw in a couple Wings of Hate, boom, there you go. But since I don't have the spellments, I can't even explore that option. I have, how many? I have 62 out of 75, and that is just to get you to tier 2. And it's not like that's even improving much. There's no way this isn't a visual glitch, but this definitely does not do the same damage as this. But the heal, I know for sure, is meant to be consistent, so tier 2 is all that I need, but yeah, not enough Wings of Fate spellments. So it's like there's all of this other stuff, and then you throw weaving into the bunch. So it's like, well, what the hell? You know, it's like what does the game want me to do about all of that? And ultimately, I think that there are so many new subsystems in Wiz that are required for PvP. I mean, raid gear, like I said, that's just how you get the best gear in the game. And then, you know, weaving and spellments and like dream water farming and all that. It's a whole chore. And yeah, dude, I'm not even sure how to go about remedying this. I'm just not. Because, like, bro, like, what is Kingsoft supposed to do? It's like, they can't just not make weaving inviable in PvP. It's like the best case scenario that I think we could see is if the weaving quests got more streamlined, like the polymorph dungeon fights, those got shortened significantly. Weft yarn, you know, either things dropped more of it, or you didn't require, you know, 95 to craft one dual pierce jewel. And on that note, it's really perplexing that the dual pierce jewels are not like unsocketable, I guess is the best way I could do that, way I could say that, because you have to shatter the dual pierce jewels, which I think is a big failing on KI's part. I am just not sure why it's like that. Really just not. And yeah, I mean, it would just be so nice if I didn't have to shatter them, because what it means is I have to get different gear for all of this stuff. Like, fortunately, I've only done death weaving on my life, but if we take a look over at my Ice Wizard, which has done weaving for Fire, Life, and Storm, you can see that here's a Storm theme, here's a Life weaving theme, here's a Fire weaving theme, but I don't have more than one Skyfarer ring, and it's either I do more rematches, which is hell on earth, or I buy the Skyfarer pack, and God forbid, right? So it's just I've had to shatter 95 Weft yarn worth of dual pierce jewels over and over and over as the meta shifts. And I think that Wiz could really stand to make these much, like, more accessible, I guess, is one thing, but also just making it easier to swap in between. So I think that's just what needs to happen. Maybe that's just me, but it's definitely not just me. A lot of people agree. But yeah, I mean, that's my take on it. That's my take on things. I definitely do think that Wiz could stand to make weaving much more streamlined, because it really is raising the barrier to entry in PvP significantly. And that's been a problem forever, and it is on them, it is on the developers to fix it, because the population of the PvP queue has been relatively stagnant despite all of the new additions. And that's not great, because, you know, if people aren't joining up like that, like, the game's gonna be boned sooner or later. Like, I don't think Wiz is at, you know, any sort of risk of dying anytime soon, but we're already at the point where it's the same, like, I don't know, 30 to 40 people playing the game at, you know, night and above, that sort of thing. So for the queue to become more homogenous, you know, you see the same people over and over and over, that's not fun. There should be new players joining on a regular basis, but they're not, because with everything combined that I've talked about over all of these videos, raid gear, farming for pins, farming for jewels, you know, spellements, of course, pet making, weaving now, I mean, it just doesn't end. And all of the prep that you have to do just to get into the arena, and you might or might not like your experience. That's another whole thing. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's my take on things. I think Wiz has a lot of work to do. And we're just going to have to see if they rise to that. And if they do, great. If not, yeah, it's not wholly unexpected, but still would be kind of disappointing. So, with that in mind, this hereby concludes another Ice Cold rant. Thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Cold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave the comments for the algorithm. Gotta get it to 50. Where's Russell Westbrook's burner when you need him? My Discord's down in the description if you want to chat with me some more. And I will see y'all later.